Hello, welcome back to my channel everyone. It's Belinda here from Visualized NZ. I'm filming a bit later in the day than I normally do today because I've just been in this state of all these ideas running around my head and not sure which one to do on video, and sort of starting and stopping various things and like, am I going to do this or that or the other. So yeah, it's taken me a while to settle and sort of get things to a point where, okay, I'm going to do this. One of the projects I wanted to do on camera was this that I've got in front of me here, and I've started and got it to a point where I can show you something. So it's going to be a journal for a friend whose birthday is the day after mine. So this is going to be the cover, and it's 2 bits of scrapbook paper that I've glued together. It's a coffee motif and like a coffee pattern here. I'm going to sew around that, which I'll do off camera. I haven't yet decided whether I'm going to do a pocket with the offcut. I'll just reach over here and grab it. This is one option. Or whether I'm going to do a lace pocket. I think I'm probably going to do lace, but haven't quite decided. So I'll do that off camera anyway. As you know, I don't sew on camera. So that's the cover. And then these are the pages that I've pulled out so far. There's a lot of digitals in here that I found this morning. I was hunting for something else and I found a bunch of printables that I'd printed out possibly as long ago as 3 years, and they kind of just got stuck in a batch in a box. And I come across them, it's like, well, I need to pull those out and use them. I do believe that these ones are from an expired bundle that I bought on Etsy. I'm not sure the name of the shop, but I don't think you can buy them anymore anyway. And then in here, I'm just trying to find it, quickly flick through, is one of my printables, which I also found in amongst the pile. They were my printables, oops, where's it gone? That my printer that I had was playing up, and I ended up having to buy a new printer, and I had these printed out. So this is one of the better ones. It's not the proper colour, but it looks okay, whereas the rest all pink, printed very, very pink, extremely pink. But the kit itself is not all pink. But this one is available on Etsy, and it's a floral themed paired with vintage sort of elements and some interesting things like this chain down the side and a little definition of each flower. And the flowers that are on the pages, in the background pictures are all my own photographs, and then some of the feature flowers are my photographs. This one isn't. That's a Creative Commons image, but a lot of the flowers are from my own photography. So that's available on Etsy, that particular kit. And just a variety, so a lot of digitals in this journal, just because I want to use them really. No good having them sitting around. Bit of music paper, bit of coffee dyed paper, some eco dyed paper. I'm not showing you properly, I'm just reminding myself. Bit of brown paper. So I do need one more page for this journal, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to make, to go as a page in a signature, one of these flip over book page inspired things. There's flaps and tucks and flips and all sorts of goodies. This was I was going to say expired. Yes, one of those days. Inspired is what I meant. Inspired by Rachel at Roxy Creations. She was doing a whole heap of these, and she's got beautiful Italian and French books and things that she makes them out of. Well, all I've got is old book pages available here in New Zealand, so they're in English and they're perfectly fine. So whatever book pages you want, if you don't have the book pages, then just use some scrapbook paper or whatever you like. I've got a whole bunch here I've already made. but I want to do a new one for this journal. I don't want to use any of these. I don't know why, I just feel like making a new one. So I'm just going to trim off this rough edge. I've grabbed out a couple of pages, and I was going to use these two. Wondering now if they're a bit too similar in colour. This one's been coffee dyed, this one hasn't. But I also have this is from the same book, but hasn't been coffee dyed, and I wonder whether the colour, I think I might go for the non-coffee dyed one. It's got nice colour in its own right, just to give a little bit of contrast. I'm just going to trim off this raggedy edge. Now raggedy edges are fine, you can leave it if you like, but I know this page is a little bit too big for what I need, so I'm just going to trim off that, and I'm not going to keep that for stamping on because it's a bit rubbish, so that'll go in my rubbish. Right, so I want to create a flippy fold over thing. So I need it to be about the size, the width of my signature. So I'm going to fold it there, just using that to crease. Hope I'm making sense in this too. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I seem to be all a fluffle lately. I think I've just got too many things running around my head and too many possibilities, and I just get kind of lost in it all. Right, now I don't want this whole thing because I want to hinge my other page. So I'm going to just choose a spot to rip it, like so. And this is from Jane Eyre, and this one's out of an encyclopedia. Okay, so I need to hinge that there. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to leave this raggedy edge here. I want to also turn this, when it flips over, I want this to be a tuck. So I'm going to just fold that edge back a little bit on itself to reinforce that edge, just because I've got the space to do it without losing too much of the tuck. So just give that a wee test. Yep, I think that'll work fine. So I'll just glue that flap down. How is everybody today? I've been very, very cold today. It's finally got to a point where the fire is keeping me warm. Seems to have been a struggle to keep it going. It's going enough to keep me warm is what I mean. There's no problem with keeping it going, it just hasn't been putting out a lot of heat. Right, so that's glued down, so that's going to reinforce the tuck there. And this page, I'm not even worried about which side round, although I probably want the, just going to snip off that little bit of excess, the raggedy bit at the top. Not that it matters. Right, so I want that there. So I'm going to use, actually I might use glue stick. I was going to use wet glue, but I'm going to use glue stick just on the edges, and I'm just guesstimating about where it goes to. It'll dry if I go too far. And I'm not going right into the crease where the fold is. I'm just going close to, leaving a little bit of space. Right, and I'm going to reinforce that with some washi tape. Excuse my squeaky chair. Which one? Just use this one because I think it's the one with most on the roll. And it's not going to be seen. Yes, it will be seen. Doesn't matter. This one will be fine. It's just got little sort of aqua coloured crosses, plus signs. Just going to trim it square. And I'm going to go the full length of the page. Oops, sticking to myself. And I'm going to run it over my glue stick just to make sure it sticks. Oops, sticking to everything. Right, so just pop it on top of the glue stick, hold a finger, and if it doesn't stick itself to the glue stick container, gosh, it's normally not this difficult. So, and just pull it across the top of the glue. Oops. Yeah, I normally do not have this issue. Normally goes fairly easily. There we go. And this just makes sure that sticks down, because washi itself is not it's not designed to be permanent. So this just helps make sure it will stay in place and your work will not fall apart somewhere down the track. Right, here we go. Just trim off that overhang. Oh my. It's one of the downsides is you can end up with sticky fingers, which I have. So I'll just give them a wipe off. And excuse me, have a wee sip of my tea. Right, and then just give that a fold. Right, so this is going to be our front page, and then flip over and we're going to decorate these up. I do find these take me a long time to do, so we possibly will not finish this, or I will not finish this on camera. But we'll see how we go. Right, I'm going to create a pocket on this side. And I love these. Basically the sky's the limit. You can do all sorts of things with them. And create all sorts of fun hidden spots and interactive folding out, and I just love the interactive nature of these. This particular journal I'm going to try and really extend myself and make it jam-packed. So the person it's for is not so much of a journaler. So I want to make it something that's just really beautiful that she can enjoy looking through and add things to if she wishes to. But I want it to be an experience. So that's my goal. And as I've discovered, my style seems to be a lot cleaner. It could be a challenge. I'm expecting it to be a challenge. So just folding this edge in to reinforce what will be the edge of the pocket or tuck. And so yeah, go along to Rachel at Roxy Creations and see the one she makes. They're absolutely stunning, very inspiring. And when I watched her video quite a while ago now, maybe a couple of months, I spent days making them. But they, like a whole weekend I made one, because I find them quite time consuming, especially if you decorate them all as well. Right, I am going to use wet glue on this one. Actually, before I glue it down, I am going to punch a thumb notch with my big punch. I haven't used my big punch for this, but I want to do a shallower, wider thumb notch. So there we go. I think that's a bit of fun. Right, and before I glue it down, I am going to distress it. I should have distressed the tuck before I glued it down, but never mind, I'll go back in and do it. I plan on distressing pretty much everything in this journal. Sort of goes with the coffee vibe, and I didn't say the theme. The theme is going to be like a floral cafe sort of style theme, and I think the inking just helps sort of bring that all together. Right, so glue that down. Oops, just got a bit of dried glue on top. There we go. And I'm not too worried about keeping it nice and narrow, because the extra bit of glue just makes the pocket not so tall, which is fine for this purpose. Right, hopefully you can see how it's sort of shaping up. So this one is almost folded in half, which is interesting. Just thinking about how to proceed. So while I think, I'm going to ink. So sorry that I'm inking. And I think these take me so long because I do a lot of thinking about how I want to do them, and I tend to do them all completely different, which then that of course takes extra time, thinking how I can alter them to make them all a little bit different to each other, which is, you know, overkill really, in some respects, because they're never going to be in the same journal. But you know, I like to keep things interesting, and I like to play and experiment, and so these are a great thing to do that on. Great to play with, great to experiment with, and you know, if you like a challenge, see how many different ways you can sort of construct them and just have fun with it. Okay, and I find I keep folding them too, so I can work out which way round I'm operating, and where I need to put something or not, like inking the edges here. I'll do this tuck as well while I'm here. I'm not worried about the ink spilling over because it's most likely going to be decorated anyway. So these bits that I've got smeared here, I'll be covering those probably. Right, sorry, I just keep seeing more spots I need to ink. And it goes on. I can always come back and do these anyway, but it's just makes me happy and helps me to see where I'm going with it all. So this is our front page. So let's start with this. I'll just close my glue. So I'm thinking something nice and focal on here would be really nice. So I've got another, this is another bit of my own printable, which doesn't look like it printed too badly, but I'm thinking I'm going to do a bit of collage first. Here's my thought on this front page, make it all decorative. And this is a good way to use up scraps as well. And this is definitely a scrap. I found it already torn, so I must have used it in a collage somewhere else, however many years ago that was. Oops, my rubbish bin's kind of exploding over to the side here. Alright, I could actually cover the whole thing with that, but I don't want to. I'd rather do a bit of collage. And I think I'll keep that definition down the bottom. And I might have to do a bit of straightening up. Right. Okay, time to get the glue book over. And hopefully I don't run out of glue stick during this process, because this is my last one and I've already been using it for probably a week, maybe 2. Have not used it overly much because I sort of went to using my tacky glue because I was on my last glue stick. But, well, if it does run out, I'll have no choice but to go back to the tacky glue until I can get another glue stick. Right, this is quite thin paper that I'm working on, so doing this, and I know I'm going to cover where I've inked, but that's okay, I can re-ink it. I'm going to fold this over, and it's going to help strengthen the edge of that page. And I can see I've got a little bit of trimming down the bottom to do at some point, which is cool. Right, okay, we need some music, I think. Always good to have music. Just diving in my bag of scraps here. See, that will fit up the top. So I'm just going to put it up the top. Actually, I'm going to wrap it. No, I'm not going to put it up the top. I'm going to wrap it around the sides, which means it won't. Oops. Gee, I'm getting in such a sticky mess. So it won't reach right around because I'm going to wrap it. So I'll bring it down a little bit. Just wrap it over the back. There we go. It's not even straight. Who cares? It's going to look good. Right, what else have I got in my scraps here? I've got this handmade paper that's been stitched, which I used in one of my junk journal spreads. So, kind of need to go, you can't tear through the stitching, so you need to snip where the stitching is and then just tear in between. Yep, I think that'll be quite nice. Now, because of the type of paper this is and it's textured, I am going to use my tacky glue. And I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm hoping that it will work okay being on a fold where it's going to open and shut. So, a bit of a gamble. Crafter's life is to live dangerously in the craft room. You know, we work with a lot of sharp things. It's dangerous out there. Right, don't want to fold it over too much, I don't think. Oops. Oops, oops, getting glue everywhere. So I've got some changes coming up this week. I'm going to, well, hoping to film from hubby's work. I've got hubby asking the boss whether it's okay to do that. So if that happens, then I'll be away from home for 3 days this week, and I'll take all my gear and things and film from there, which is going to be interesting, you know, making sure I've got everything I need. And I can just imagine being partway through a video and it's like, oh, I need this and I haven't got it. So it could quite, yeah, it could turn into a real pickle quite easily. But that is the plan. So we'll see. I've got a few gaps. Just want to, how's that? Yep, and because this is going over that textured sew-in paper, I'm going to use tacky glue on this as well, so make sure it sticks down. Oops. And cover the gap I had there. Right, I need something up here. Sorry, I'm just gonna dig in my scrap bag. No, I don't want shiny paper. Do I want... Yeah, I could use matte paper. There's a bit of pink in it as well, so it kind of ties in. Just want to get rid of that straight edge along there. And I think it's a bit tall for what I want. I'm just going to fold it. I'm not going quite to the edge of the tuck. I'm just going to fold where I want that, mucked up. I need to fold it along the edge of the page, not out from it, which is what I did first. There we go. And I want to trim off that top. Where's my ruler gone? Oh, buried. Another scrap to go back in the bag. Okay. Yep, those rough bits are fine. Okay, back with the glue stick again. Oops, sliding. I must be out of practice with the glue stick because I've been getting annoyed with it sliding on me, trying to position it, and it slides too far one way and then too far the other. Right. Okay. Onto this side. Another scrap of a different digital. I think I need the edge straighter. Yep, I might have to just cut it. But we'll see how we get on. I can always resort to cutting if this doesn't work. But no, it worked okay. Yep. Okay, I'm going to use tacky glue for this as well because it's going over that textured paper. So what's on your desk today? What are you busy creating? Hopefully you've got time to create, making some time for some arty or crafty play. Sorry about the crashes. Right. Okay, so that's all collaged. So the front's collaged and this little tuck here is collaged. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and collage this area, but I'm going to do it with neutrals. So I'm just going to put you on pause while I do that so that you don't have to watch me just collaging my way through this video, and then I'll come back once I've done that. So see you in a little bit. Okay, so I've just quickly collaged that in neutrals, and I've also put a bit of neutral here underneath our little flip over. So I've got a fold in here. I'm just going to ink it so it makes it easier to see for you in camera, because it's hard enough to see on my desk, so it will just help you visualize where I'm working to. So this is my fold down that line. So I just want to put something decorative in this patch, and I'm not quite sure what I want to use at the moment. Perhaps I should have decided that while I had you on pause, but never mind. I've kind of got pinks going, pinkies, purples, a bit of green. What about a bit of this? This is from a paint pour, and I've lost my ruler again. Where's my ruler gone? Oops. For some reason I put it behind me. Yeah, as I was saying, from a paint pour class that I ran, and it was just picking up the excess paint off the mats with some cartridge paper. It's quite cool. Okay, so this is just a little, actually I think I want the yellow in, so I'll take off this end. Just a little bit of colour, bit of decoration. That's hidden under the flap, so when it's closed that is hidden. Open it up and there we go. And I'm going to use the tacky glue for this because it is a thicker paper, so it's not going to buckle on me. There's also something new happening tomorrow on my channel. A lovely subscriber, Prue. Hi Prue. He's faithfully been watching and commenting and the like. Really enjoy that, your feedback, Prue. It's great. So she suggested an idea to me of something she would like to see, and I thought, fabulous idea, and would make a really good series. So from tomorrow I'm going to be starting the weekly series. I hope it will be weekly. That's going to be what I'm going to attempt to do, but if I skip one here and there, please forgive me. It's going to be a new series, and it's going to be called, now I've cleared off my note, Trash Craft Tuesday. So bearing in mind that I'm filming in New Zealand, so people overseas might not see it till Wednesday, but it is going to be Trash Craft Tuesday, and I'm going to look at using something that's been thrown out and see what I can do with it. Mostly probably to do with journals, but it might stretch into art or something else as well. We shall see how it goes, and that's, I think, part of my problem this morning, as I've been thinking up ideas for that and going over, and sort of everything I put my hand to do, it's like, but that would make a great Tuesday video. So yeah, so I've already got in mind what I'm doing tomorrow, which is pretty cool. So hopefully I'll have it a bit more together tomorrow for the first ever Trash Craft Tuesday. Right, now this pocket here. You want a bit more of that? Probably not. Maybe. Could do, but I want to take a notch out of it. And this will be interesting to see if I can match it to the other notch-ish roundabout. Doesn't matter too much. What I'm thinking is if I can do that there and see if I can trim it off about the same distance at this end, just so it looks balanced. Searching for the word then. Balanced is the word I was looking for. Okay. And down the side. Now I don't know whether you've noticed in some of the collaging I've left some of the text showing through from the book page. Because we were using book page, I think it's nice to honour the book page and just have these little bits showing to show that, yeah, the base is actually a book page, rather than cover it all up. Otherwise, you could use blank paper or whatever, you know. And if you are using a paper where you don't like any of it, then by all means cover it all up. But I think it's nice just to have those little pops of the book page showing through. Adds interest, texture. And saves, I guess, a little bit on glue too, if you're not having to cover every single millimetre of your book page. Right, I should have inked that edge because I'm not quite liking the white edge along there where I've torn the paper. Oops, sorry about that. I need to put my things away as I use them so don't crash and bash. Let's go in here with my ink. Sorry, I'm probably off camera then. And just try and soften that white edge a little bit. I mean, these are details that you as a journal maker appreciate and notice, and if you sell to somebody who's used to junk journals or journals and things, they'll possibly notice. The person this is going to won't notice, but I know. So there, that just makes me happier. Okay, now we need some decoration. So I'm thinking I'm going to leave this bit of book page here. I probably need to reinforce this. So I'm going to reinforce this side, and I'll use this same tape. And we're going to attempt the run over the glue stick again. I should be using one of my old glue sticks for this. That's all they're good for. You know how at the end you've still got all that glue sitting in the little plastic bit? It really bugs me that there's glue there, and I don't want to waste it, so I keep all the old ones, and from time to time when I've got something where it's suitable to do it, I grab out a palette knife and dig it out and scrape it on my project. Right, there we go. And I might as well just wrap that little bit round. Oops, without the hair in it preferably. There we go. And that will just reinforce that fold. Because it is old book page, I think it's from the 50s or 60s, this encyclopedia. It'll just stop it tearing with being open and shut. Okay, so I'm going to leave this bit here just for that interest's sake. And okay, so tuck here, and I'll leave this bit here as well, but I would like to collage this bit, and I think I would, rather than collaging it with different pieces, I think I just want one piece for it. So I think I will go with one of my failed digital prints from my own kit. See, very, very pink. I think the cyan, this is an old printer that got recycled because it just was not fixable. So I'm just looking for which one I might like, and it also is a bit stripy the way it printed out, which isn't the end of the world, and I think for this purpose it will be fine. Wondering whether to go, sorry, I don't even know whether I was holding those in camera. Thinking I might get this bit with the books in it. No, who doesn't like to have a cup of coffee with a good book? It's something I need to do more of. I haven't read much in ages, and I've got so many books I need to read that I've been collecting series of that I really want to read and haven't started, but mostly because some of them haven't got the whole series yet, and I really don't want to start until I've got the whole series, because if there's too long between reading one and getting hold of the next one, then I've got to start at the beginning. Don't ask, it's just me. I like to read whole series, so if an author brings out a new book in a series after a decent length of time, then I have to start back at the beginning and reread the whole lot. I actually prefer to do that with TV series as well, but don't often do that because, well, I just haven't got that amount of time to sit and watch endless series of TV programs. I've got crafting to do. But yeah, books, I totally just, if it's been too long in between reading, I need to go back to the beginning and start again. It's just the way I like to do it. So I really would prefer to wait and read the books that I've got to read once I've got the whole complete series on my bookshelf. And I love collecting books. I love buying books and actually having them rather than getting them from the library or borrowing them. Then it is completely at my leisure how much I read and how long it takes me to read a book. If it's a really exciting book, it can take me not very long at all. I used to be a huge reader growing up. I used to have stacks and stacks of books beside the bed, because I used to work in the library at high school, and I'd get to bring home the new books that weren't yet in circulation, and I'd bring them home and stack them up, and some of them I didn't actually ever get to read, and I had to just take them back without reading, because I just overestimated the time, especially once I got into exams and things. I just didn't have the time for pleasure reading so much. But every now and then I just get to a point where it's like, oh, I just want to read. And I haven't had that for a while, so I'm sure I've got a session coming up where I'll get into that mood. Whoops. Put it down straight, dear, if you can. Straightish. Yes, I like that. I think that works really well there. See, even failed prints you can still use. And you could actually still write on that as well. Okay, so we've got our front. So I haven't put any focal images on yet. We still need to do focal points. We've got writing space here. This edge bothers me. It's lifting up, and I think it's because it's coffee dyed. It's not taking the glue stick that well. So I'm just going to go in here with the tacky glue and see if I can get in under that edge. Give it a burnish with the dry wipe. Stick. Stay down. Do as you're told. Right. Do you talk to your crafts? Or am I the only one that talks to the crafts and tell it to behave? The top of my glue's getting a bit mucky, so I'll just give that a clean off. Right. So where was I at? Sorted that. Some sort of focal or interest here. Actually, I found the labels I was looking for the other day that I'd buried, the new Apothecary Labels that came from Printables by Marty Joe on Etsy. And I'm thinking one of those might be quite nice because there are some vertical ones. That one's probably a bit wide. Yeah, it's too wide. This one's a bit taller. Yep, I'm going to put that one there. So I'm just going to ink around because I didn't do fussy cutting all that well. Didn't have that greater lighting when I was doing it. So there's little white bits around the edge. So it's a really lovely printable kit, this one. The pages out of a printing catalogue is my guess, is what they are. And some of them are a little bit funky. The catalogue wasn't quite straight or flattened, because that can be hard to do. So some of them have a little curve to them. But I don't think that matters in the slightest. It just kind of adds to that aged feeling. In my mind anyway. But most of them are perfectly fine. Yeah, I don't want it top, bottom. Don't want to layer it with anything. Probably. What would I layer it with? Maybe a number. I'm not sure number's the right thing, but I'm going to try it. Definitely wrong colour for a start. Too long. Too long. Maybe I need to... Actually, I think just a number up the top there would be fine. I feel like I still need something, and I'm thinking round. I do have some round stamps I stamped earlier. So I'm just going to quickly cut one of these out, and this is on vintage map paper that I've talked about before. And I realised I haven't got very much of it left. I'm down to my last scraps. And it's such beautiful paper, beautiful colour printing. It's almost a purple brown, or purple. It's quite unusual, the printing on it. But this is a stamp, which I did want to mention these two actually. If you watched my video from Friday last week, what was the topic? Can't even think what the topic is now. But if you watched my last video, the one before this, I was talking about the stamps that I'd ordered and got charged for, but couldn't find a record of the sale or anything, and had never received them. Well, I still haven't got any record of it. There's no thing on AliExpress saying that I ever purchased them, apart from the 2 cents that disappeared from my bank account. Well, I walked out to the letterbox the afternoon after videoing that last video, and they'd arrived. So you wouldn't credit it, that the timing. I'll take this out of the cellophane so you can see it better. So this is the set that I got for 2 cents. It's really cool. It's not perfect, as a lot of the things from China aren't. It's possibly the odd spelling mistake, but it's so tiny. The writing on them is so tiny that it's hard to tell whether it's spelt right or not. But it's still really cool. It is a current set, so if you hop along to AliExpress and search for label clear stamps or label cling stamps, I can't tell you where I got it from other than that, because there's simply no record of me having purchased it. But it's arrived. So my 2 cent purchase, you will pay more than 2 cents. It was a special deal. So just warning that you're very unlikely to pick it up for the same price as I did. But I'm very, very happy with my 2 cent purchase honestly, if even only one of the stamps worked, I would have been happy for a 2-cent purchase. I mean, how could you not be? It was pretty good. But I've used 2 so far. I've only tried out 2, this one and another, and this one, and it says Courage is Grace Under Pressure by Ernest Hemingway, and that stamps quite well. So far I've got no complaints with the 2 stamps I've used. They both stamp really nice impressions. So my stamped number up there, and yeah, just a little bit of layering. Sorry, I know I'm reaching under the camera again. You'd be sick of me apologising. Right there. And my little checked stamp. I like combining shapes when I'm layering if possible. There we go. Still got a gap there, but I think that's fine. I can always come back and add something if I need to. So that's that decorated. I'm not sure whether I'm going to add anything there or not, because I kind of like it as writing space as well. Need to make a journaling card or tag or something to come in there and decorate this. Okay, I'm just going to pop you on pause and hunt for some things that I want to use, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so I found in my stash some clock faces which I had done a long time ago. I remember doing them when I had my shop, sitting out the back and doing them. It's a printable of clock faces. I'll have to look up and see if I can find where I got them from. I'm thinking maybe the Graphics Fairy, but I will do a search and see if I can find it and put it in the description box. Now, it may not be added in until after the video goes live, but it just depends on whether I'm successful tracking down where I printed it from. So I printed them on cardstock, and then I sprayed them. This one sprayed with handmade ink that I made from old felt pens that I soaked in water. So that's what it's sprayed with, and then it's distressed, and I added a pink brad in the middle just for a little bit of texture and fun, and then I've glued that down, and I trimmed off the overhangs that I had going on and inked up around it, and just noticed I forgot this edge, so there we go, that's all taken care of, and I inked over here as well. So this back pocket, I found this journaling card that I had already made, which the colour's a little bit different, but I don't think that matters because I've got lots of different colours going on, and it ties in quite nicely with this one, this little patch here. So even though it's a different pink, well, it's not really pink at all, but it's totally different to the other colours here. This is very eclectic, it's not matchy match. So I thought that would fit nicely in there. So we've just got this pocket now to fill, and I've got this little pre-made tag out of a kit of scrapbooking paper, but it's a little bit narrow for this pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it with this offcut from doing the cover. And I thought, well, I'm not going to just do a straight offcut. I'm going to do, well, first I need to narrow it down because this is actually a little bit wide. So we need it to be, sorry, I don't even know if that's in camera. I'm just doing a eyeball measurement here. So if I take it about there, and hopefully I can see that. Line it up on my grid. Unbury my ruler, which is constantly getting buried. And I'm sorry, I'm conscious I may be getting my head in view. So I don't know whether I can do this without getting my head in the camera to see where I'm going. But let's try it. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm just going to bring it in a little bit so it lines up with the grid line. It's slightly narrower than what I'd marked. And I'm going to try this. This never usually goes well for me. But, you know, give it another go. And we didn't do too bad. I can live with that. Okay, so I'm going to back this. And, oh, do the colours work? I didn't even think about the colours. Well, I've cut it now, haven't I? There's pink here, and this is kind of pinky. Give this a distress and see whether it helps. I might have to change my mind. So I wasn't even thinking about the colour. And this is quite a yellow base, this tag. It's probably not ideal, but I'm going to live with it. I think once it's all together, it will be fine. So I'm going to try and judge where to fold it, and I'm going to make it a flip up tag. Oh, I've just come across another idea while I was just doing this. That could be a bit of fun. Okay, so I'm going to glue that down there. And I'll distress right around the edges as well. Sorry, bring it back onto camera. While I had you on pause, I just did a bit of repair too, where I glued that first tuck spot with the glue stick. It was coming apart, so I went in with the tacky glue and made sure it was going to stay stuck down. Can't have pockets that come undone. It's just not good. Oops. Right. Now what I'm thinking is, just because, okay, I'm going to try and fold it the same height as the front. Won't matter if it's slightly out. Better go with the scoring tool. And I'm going to make a little pocket on the inside of that, just because I think that sounds like fun, and because I've got this little bit left over. And before I stick it down, before I put the glue on, I'm just going to give it a little thumb. And I used the smaller circle punch for that one, because it's not a wide. Oops. Let's glue everything together. How about it? Oops, we're almost at an hour. So I'm going to put you on pause, finish this up, and then bring you back and show you what I've done, and then we'll finish up the video. Okay, so back in a sec. Okay, so I finished up this wee tag, flip tag. So I've inked around the edges. I gave it a top to match the angles on the tag that I glued on the front. And so it opens up, and I've inked all around the inside. Apart from the top of my pocket, because I can't get in there, there's no excess to work with to lift it up to get the ink in there, so I've just left that edge raw. I should have done it before I glued it down. And then this is another tag from the same kit, which I had already backed with some writing paper, so I've just used that to tuck into the pocket there, like so. So things that open and shut and tuck and flip and all sorts of fun. So there we go, that sits in that pocket there quite nicely. So this will get sewn into the signature when I do the sewing. So I haven't decided where in the signature it's going to go, but let's just say it's at the front there. So this is our crease where we hinge the two together. Oops, tap that shut. So that'll be in the signature as a page. So that side, and then on this side we've got our little flip out. So lots of fun. If you make one, tag me in it, post it on my Facebook group, Visual Vibes, tag me on Instagram, VisualisedNZ, or leave a comment below. I'd love you to leave a comment below or give me a thumbs up on the video. I'd love to see what you do, and I will link Rachel's video. She's got a couple, I think, at least on these, so I'll find one and link one for you so you can see what she does, because honestly she's so inspiring, and just seeing the pages she works with are so beautiful. So there we go, that's it for today, guys. I'm sorry it was quite a long video, although I knew it would be, because these page things, I can't even remember what they're called, I know they take me a long time to do, and this was a miracle that I got this done in an hour, because I was trying to just push along. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys. Hope you liked this video, and I'll see you tomorrow for Trash Craft Tuesday. I'm looking forward to it. See you then. Bye.